kids hailing from film families who will shine, and there will be kids who will not shine.
Yeah.
So this debate can go on endlessly. According to me, it's a senseless debate. If they are born in those families, you go and fight with God. Na? Why are you so frustrated that they were born in those families? So I think this whole debate about nepotism is nonsense, and it's the handiwork of frustrated people who probably nurse a grudge that हमारी फैमिली का कोई नहीं आया या हमारे माँ बाप इस इंडस्ट्री में नहीं थे. But you go and fight with God. Don't fight with the people who are born in those families. It's yet again an India-Pakistan film. No, it is an India-Pakistan film, but with a big, big difference. Thus far, every single India-Pakistan film spoke about India. So it was from the Indian perspective and with flashes of what is going on in Pakistan. This is the first film which is about the Pakistani side with flashes of what is happening in India.
Wow.
The turnaround that happens, where, I mean, you know, whatever happens there.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's a really,
It was very surprising.
I was shocked.
You didn't expect
I was
it
shocked.
actually.
And you know, what I really liked, the way he shot the dramatic.
The inside story is that she demanded more things which were not acceptable to the producer because they did not fit in with the budget of the film and with the budget allocated for the actress. So one will never know the truth. It's very sad. If we can play cricket with Pakistan, I don't think there should be any kind of impediment to the release of films.
This is something that I don't like. आप कमाते यहाँ पर हो, वहाँ जाकर फिर हमारी बुराई करने लग जाते हो. So actually ये जो नहीं लेने का जो फैसला है पाकिस्तानी actors को, वो मेरी व्यक्तिगत राय में, in my opinion, is absolutely right because they badmouth us all the while.
On Saturday, the multiplexes, without asking the producers, without asking the distributors, they take their decision. They increase the shows of the films which are doing well. They decrease the shows of the films which are doing badly. So that filmmaker, I'm actually forgetting the name of the film. Agra.
Hi, this is Amina Sheikh here on Zoom channel, and with me right now I have the trade analyst Taran Adarsh, and with me right now I have Komal Nahta sir, and he's going to discuss the 2025 year and how it has been for us in terms of box office collections, entertainment world, and lots more. So let's hear from him as we speak about this only on Zoom. Firstly, lovely to have you, sir. And as the year ends, you know, we are going to speak about a lot of movies which are released in the theaters. Some has turned out to be like box office disaster, while some has turned out to be like a hit at the box office. So I really want to know, first of all, your take. The very first question to you is, which has been your favorite movie of the year?
Thank you, Samina, for inviting me over. Well, my favorite film of this year is, of course, Durandar. It's 10 on 10 for that film, actually. I love the film, and I think it's a brilliant film. It takes Hindi cinema notches higher, and also at the same time, it is the triumph of a good storyteller. I think Aditya Dhar is a fantastic storyteller. He's made a fantastic film, and I'm sure the audience is rewarding him with box office collection, and the love, of course. I'm not denying that. The kind of love this film is getting from all across the globe. Of course, the film has not released in the UAE and GCC. That's beside the point. But then across the globe, this film is shattering all previous records and rewriting the new ones.
But when it comes to saying about the mass evolution, you know, which has happened, and when I say so, do you feel that because Chava and Dhurandhar both crossed massive milestones, but they felt fundamentally different from the alpha male actioners of 2023 and 2024? And when I say so, do you feel because, you know, it was more alpha oriented and like that, and now this has kind of worked with detailing of the content? Has the Indian audience finally started demanding historical depth and craft over just like mindless swag like that?
You know, there will always be a pushpa which will work in a very big way. I'm not denying that. In the 70s and 80s, there used to be those masala entertainers that Manmohan Desai ji and Prakash Mehra ji used to make, and they worked in a very big way. The audience were crazy about those films, and that trend has never diminished. It's just that we stopped making those kind of films. But having said that, I feel now audience is more, they were always sharper, but now I guess there's so much of there's so much of choice available on the digital platform and of course on television, so that they know what to choose and what not to. And then today, in the era of social media, the word spreads faster than fire. So what happens is that people are very, very cautious while devoting their time. I'm repeating the term, devoting the time. Money follows later, but devoting the time to a particular product, be it a film or a web series or a short film, because they feel that it has to be worth it. So the word of mouth, if the word of mouth is very good, as in the case of Chhawa you mentioned, and now Dhurandhar, in between there were other films also, the box office collections are bound to be great, and it has been proven. Chhawa, I'm sure, I've spoken to Dinesh Vijan several times during that release, as well as even now. No one anticipated or expected that film to work in this way. Of course, every producer and everyone wants their movies to work. And I'm sure he must be also thinking कि 200-300 crore हो जाए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. But 500 par is a very, very big thing. And I think Chhawa has done that. And now Dhurandhar ab kya kahe,
That's true.
it's no one knows. I'm sure, I'm very confident even Geo Studios would not know as to what the final outcome, what the final business of this film would be, because this film is unstoppable. This is like a tsunami which refuses to stop. It's going on day in, every film. If you see, since the time this film is released, after post that there have been Kis Kis Ko Pyar Karu, Kapil Sharma's film. It didn't stand a chance. Of course, it was never a mighty opponent, but the mighty opponent came in the form of Avatar. And Avatar also, if you see, the collections were completely sidelined by Durand. Post that, of course, there is now Tu Mera, Main Teri, Main Tera, Tu Meri. So, even that film has been completely sidelined by Dhurandhar, by the Dhurandhar wave. But then, of course, Tu Mera Main Teri is also a very weak film. It would never stand a chance. But having said that, I feel that none of these films would really stand a chance in front of a mighty wave called Dhurandhar. Dhurandhar is like the giant. And I was very categorical, and I told this to the people at Dharma as well as to the actor of Tu Mera Main Teri, that, please, you're coming in front of a tsunami. Don't do that. Please postpone the film. But then, they had their reasons. But anyway, whatever, all said and done, it's the triumph of good cinema. It's the triumph of content. It's the triumph of a great storyteller. It's the triumph of a studio. I repeat this. Jyoti Deshpande, the producer of Geo Studios, and Aditya Dhar, the director of Dhurandhar, are the real Dhurandhars of this film. Because Jyoti Deshpande, she greenlit this project. She invested that kind of money, which is a huge money, which is a huge amount. And then Aditya Dhar for actually making it into 2 parts and making it, the first part is so brilliant. Like we say in Hindi, palak chhapkane ka mauka hi nahi milta. It's that kind of a film. And I think it's all these people, and not just on screen, but even off screen, are the Dhurandhars of this film.
People are now exposed to world cinema at the click of a button on Netflix, Amazon, Disney Hotstar. You can see world cinema, so that's at your doorstep. Therefore, the expectations of the Indian audience have gone up so much that they've started comparing Indian films with foreign films or foreign television series or foreign web series, etc. And therefore, they are demanding better content rather than frivolous content. Frivolous content also works. Love stories or comedies, fluffy love stories, they all work. But for that huge success, I think they are now demanding more worthwhile content and content that probably they have not seen on the screen earlier. So either you give them fresh content, or you give them, even if it is a love story, like Saiyaara was a love story, but you give it in such a novel presentation that they would not want to say no to it. So either you give them great content, or you give them old content in a great style, in some novel style. That is all they demand. So it's not a very demanding audience. They are very simple audience, but you have to cater to their demands in the sense, जो 2-3 demands हैं, उनको आप पूरा कर दो और वो आपको पूरा प्यार दे देंगे.
That's true. And because of this movie, and it felt like during Animal, we saw that Bobby Deol was, the one people were speaking about and like a comeback. This time it's all about Akshay Khanna's resurgence in a way. And if I say so, few actors have had a year like Akshay Khanna in 2025. He played both a Mughal emperor in Chava, which worked actually very well, and now a viral villain in Durandar. So what do you have to say about him, because his branding has like understood intensity? What do you feel like it feels like a modern performance, and a louder performance rather than, traditional superstars as compared to other actors if you see so.
Samina, I would like to add here that I've always felt, and I'm not saying this because he's riding a great wave at the moment, but I've always said, and I've said this to him as well, and I've written about it, that he's one of the finest actors that we have. He's very underrated, actually, if you ask me. I remember going to the Mahurat, to the launch of his first film, Himalaya Putra, which was hosted by his father. And the movie, that when it came out, of course, it didn't work at the box office, but his work was very good. Over the years, if you notice, he has done some wonderful films, and he's delivered some fantastic performances. Of course, in 2025, it's been a turning point, and a beautiful turning point. There was Chava, where he played a Mughal emperor, as you rightly said. And then now, of course, he's Rahman Daket, and he's gone viral. But, I think it's a very brilliant performance. I have always said this, and I feel that Akshay is one of those few actors, even if you don't give him those lines to deliver, he can emote through his eyes. He can emote through his facial expressions. And he can deliver a very powerful performance even without delivering a single dialogue. And I think that's the triumph. That's the sign of a very fine actor. And here, if you notice, even in Durandar, I see a couple of sequences on social media where he's saying कि रहमान डकैत की is kasai numa hoti hai. And all those dialogue and the way and the swag and everything, and of course that song which has gone viral, I think. And when I was watching the song in a private screening, and when I saw this film, and I said, oh my God, this song is something else. I've seen it, I don't know how many times. Every time I see it, I'm glued to that song. I don't know the lyrics of that song. I don't know the wording of that song, but it keeps me hooked. I'm being very honest, and only because the way he walks in and the way he performs, it's so brilliant. He's one of the finest actors, not just in the Hindi film industry. Akshay Khanna is one of the finest actors we have in India today, and I have always said this. I think he's a brilliant actor. And the industry has just woken up, or maybe a few people have woken up, or maybe the Gen Z has just woken up to the fact that Akshay is a great actor. But he has always been a great actor. He's a fantastic actor, and so is Ranbir Singh. I mean, if you look at him in this film, everyone wrote him off.
I think it has turned out to be pretty good, and thanks to 3 films. Of course, Dhurandhar. Last but not the least, as they say, Saiyaara and Chava. These 3 films actually changed the way we are looking at 2025, especially Dhurandhar. Had it not been for Dhurandhar, I would have said it's been a reasonably good year. But Dhurandhar has changed it all because it is set to become the biggest ever Hindi blockbuster. We have never seen such collections. We've never seen such records being broken. So I think the year is ending on a fantastic note.
So what do you have to say about Durandar as a movie? Because it's action-packed. We have seen some tremendous performances, and suddenly Akshay Khanna also rose to fame like how, and people have just admired and loved him. Last year we saw like how things changed and unfolded for Bobby Deol. This time it's Akshay Khanna. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, what Animal did to Bobby Deol's career, I think Dhurandhar will do to Akshay Khanna's career. So Dhurandhar is Akshay Khanna's Animal, or Animal was Bobby Deol's Dhurandhar. They have shown both these films have shown these 2 stars in such great light that people have suddenly started assessing them with a different lens altogether. I think besides Ranbir Singh, Akshay Khanna also did such a fantastic job, and his role was, sometimes you get that perfect role where you shine. This was that kind of a role. So I think it's very, very good news for Akshay Khanna. As it is, he's been a very selective actor. And then after being so selective, to get this kind of a character and to portray it so wonderfully. I think nothing could have been better. So it's like a second innings for Akshay Khanna, and probably like Bobby Deol, I think his second innings will be better than the first innings.
Here, in this respect, Ranbir Singh has done very well, yes, but then he's delivered those numbers also. And so has Akshay Khanna, so has R. Madhavan, Sanjay Dutt, and of course, Arjun Rampal, all these actors are Dhurandhars. And I said, as I said, the producer and the director are the real Dhurandhars of this.
People are now exposed to world cinema at the click of a button on Netflix, Amazon, Disney Hotstar. You can see world cinema, so that's at your doorstep. Therefore, the expectations of the Indian audience have gone up so much that they've started comparing Indian films with foreign films or foreign television series or foreign web series, etc. And therefore, they are demanding better content rather than frivolous content. Frivolous content also works. I mean, love stories or comedies, fluffy love stories, they all work. But for that huge success, I think they are now demanding more worthwhile content and content that probably they have not seen on the screen earlier. So either you give them fresh content or you give them, even if it is a love story, like Saiyaara was a love story, but you give it in such a novel presentation that they would not want to say no to it. So either you give them great content or you give them old content in a great style, in some novel style. That is all they demand. So it's not a very demanding audience. They are very simple audience, but you have to cater to their demands in the sense जो दो तीन demands हैं उनको आप पूरा कर दो और वो आपको पूरा प्यार दे देंगे.
But that's very interesting, and what you're saying is actually right, because it is the Dhurandhar fever and 700 crores. The film has already made 700 crores today, and it's a humongous amount. And now that actually makes us interested to see the part 2 as well. We are going to see how the roles are going to extend or what twist we are going to see. But do you also feel now that we speak about 700 crores? The 100 crore has come to a fatigue because 70 films and more have crossed by the half of 2025. They have crossed 100 crores already. So now, do you think that's a baseline for a safer release?
The first film to do that, to cross the 100 crore mark, the century, was Gajini. Now that was so long back, and now 100 crores is not important enough. Yes, if it is important for a mid-range film, if it crosses 100 crore or a new star-cast film. Had Saiyaara crossed, Saiyaara has crossed 300 crores, but had Saiyaara crossed 100 crores, I would have clapped. I would have said, wow, it is fantastic. For a film starring newcomer, new actor, a new actress, doing 100 crores. I think it's fantastic. But there it did 300 crores. So 100 crores is no longer a yardstick or a barometer to gauge the success of a film for a star cast film. Today it's 200, 300. And even now, when you see 500 crores, आप भी बात कर रहे हैं, and आपने बहुत अच्छी तरह से compare किया है छावा का, and as well as Durand. So see, look at that. Today the numbers, the benchmark has increased from 100 to 200, 300, 400, 500. Now 700. We are talking of 700, 600, 700, and 800. So this shows the progress of the business over a period of time. But yes, of course, not every film can achieve that. I would like to add, it all boils down to the content. And when the movie releases, it's the content that does the talking.
Actually, this 100 crore mark is a little loosely used term, because if your film has cost 200 crore to make and you do 100 crore at the box office, it's not great news. So it's always which film are we talking about and whether 100 crore is at all a milestone for that film or not. So for Chhawa or for Dhurandhar, 100 crore would be a disappointment. But for a Saiyaara, 100 crore was good enough. Of course, it went on to do far, far more. But even if it had stopped at 100 or 110 crore, I would have still said it's a lovely film. Of course, it went on to do far, far, far more than 100 crore. So it became a super blockbuster. But what I mean to say is, most of the non-trade journalists don't understand. For them, it's done 100 crore means it's a success. But if the cost is far more, it is not a success. So sometimes a 100 crore film we could be referring to a 100 crore film as we could be referring to a flop film as a 100 crore film because its cost was high. Having said that, generally the bar has been raised so much that 100 crore is no longer very exciting. Probably the new 100 crore is actually 200 crore. Also, because the cost of production has gone up so much, the stars have started asking for more and more price, more and more fees. So therefore, the cost of production is so high that 100 crore may not. For smaller films, it is still the benchmark, but for bigger films, for medium budget and high budget films, definitely 100 crore doesn't mean anything. For medium budget films, in the sense films which have cost about 75 crore to make, 100 crore is not too exciting.
It also comes to this one question, which is about the nepotism debate, which we have spoken a lot. But do you feel that because of some nepotist, actors, and when I say so, because they belong to the film industry, the debate would come down also because Aryan Pandey and Aryan Khan have proved that content is the king, and with their work, be it Bads of Bollywood, if you speak about, or you speak about Saiyaara, what do you have to say on that?
Very, very important and a very fantastic question. So, I mean, I'm so glad you asked this question. There's so much of nepotism thing that goes on social media and in the film industry and everywhere. Even the common man talks about it. Everyone is there's so many families who are part of nepotism. Actually, Raj Kapoor Saab was also nepotism. Was also part of nepotism. His father, the great Prithviraj Kapoor Saab, was a great actor. And then came Raj Kapoor Saab, Shammi Kapoor, Shashi Kapoor ji, everyone. And then, of course, there's Rishi Kapoor, Ranbir Kapoor, Chimpu Kapoor, and now Ranbir Kapoor, Karisma Kapoor, Kareena Kapoor. So they have been part of that family, but they are very talented people. And ditto for Sunny Deol, who's Dharmendra ji's son, and Bobby Deol, of course. Dharamji's son. There are so many examples. I can go on, even from look at Karan Johar, Aditya Chopra. They also belong to families who have been producing films and directing films. And so I feel that just to label someone ke to nepotism ka product hai, you have to work doubly hard. You mentioned Aryan Khan. He has everything going for him. He's Shah Rukh Khan's son, and he could have sat down and said, mujhe kaam bhi nahi karna hai. I can, lead the rest of my life very comfortably. But 8 Bads of Bollywood, and it is a fantastic show. Believe me, I thought, I'm not so much into web series, I'll be very honest, but I wanted to watch this. I wanted to watch it because to see how, of course, Shah Rukh Khan's son is directing it. And once I started, it was a Sunday afternoon. Once I started till non-stop binge watch till night. I couldn't take my eyes off. Normally, I don't do that ever for any web series. I rarely watch web series. I don't get the time. But having said that, I think he's a fantastic director. I could never guess the climax of the show.
Wow.
The turnaround that happens, where, whatever happens there.
It was very surprising.
I was shocked.
You didn't expect it, actually.
And what I really liked, the way he shot the dramatic scenes, the way he's extracted performances from the actors. And there are certain moments, there's a scene with his father, Shah Rukh Khan, when he comes in. It's so beautiful, so nice.
And to make him feel like that,
no one can speak to Shah Rukh Khan like that. But the son really took that liberty of, showing that on screen. Or Karan Johar in the series. I think, it's so well put together. And the way, as I said, he's shot in dramatic scenes. And also the emotional moments. There's one scene of Raghav Juel where he starts singing. When he looks at Imran Hashmi, believe me, Samina, I had tears in my eyes on that. Because the way he's emoted it, but the placement of that sequence is so brilliant. Or even for that matter, in that hospital sequence, when the family is there and Raghav Juel, and he slaps Raghav, they have had a fight actually, and they are there in the hospital. And what a scene! It's so beautifully shot, the emotional moments, the dramatic scenes. Now coming to Aryan Pandey, I'm completely surprised with the level of performance, the dramatic highs that he gave in the film. I was so shocked when I saw this film, because I know Mohit Suri is a very good storyteller. I'm not denying that. The songs had become hugely popular. I'm not denying that. Everything was going perfect for this film. No pre-release, no denying that. But when I saw the film, I was like floored completely. What a film! And I came out of the screening after the private screening, and I told the Yash Raj people that this is one of the best films of YRF that I have seen after a long time. And I wrote that in my review as well. I think it's a fantastic film. It's one of my favorites of 2025. And Aryan Pandey is superstar material. जैसे हम कहते हैं industry में. He is fantastic. I hope he chooses his films right. And I'm sure he's going to be very level-headed because he belongs to a very nice family. And I'm sure I don't know him at all. And I think जो मैंने उनको सोशल मीडिया पे देखा है तो बहुत रिस्पेक्टफुली लोगों से पेश आते हैं, which is a very good sign. And I hope he remains that way. And because actors का वैसा होना, after such a big success is very rare, but then he's maintained that, which is a very good sign. So to the two kids that you mentioned, Aryan Khan and Ananya Panday, I'm sure my only, if at all, Shahrukh, if this message reaches Shahrukh through you, through your show, through your esteemed channel, I would like to tell him that please tell Aryan to act in movies also. He's a very good-looking boy, and
I think it would be interesting to see him like doing a full-fledged movie.
And I think he would be as a director, he's proven himself, but as an actor, he should be seen on the big screen. He's made for the big screen. And I think we need actors. When we always talk about that in the industry, कि हमारे यहाँ नए actors की कमी है, Aryan Khan should come in. And I'm sure he'll conquer.
Kids hailing from film families who will shine, and there will be kids who will not shine. So this debate can go on endlessly. According to me, it's a senseless debate. If they are born in those families, you go and fight with God. Na? Why are you so frustrated that they were born in those families? If Aryan Khan was born in Shah Rukh Khan's family, why should it trouble anybody? And if he's taking up in the film industry, taking up work in the film industry, why should it trouble anybody? A doctor's son invariably becomes a doctor. An engineer's son invariably studies engineering. So why not a film person? And every sphere of activity, every sphere of work is so democratic that if you do not have talent, you will not be able to survive. You may get 2 extra chances than, say, a person who is not from a film family. But those 2 extra chances also don't promise you. If you have failed 5 times, you could as well fail 7 times. And most of the star kids have proven themselves without a second chance. Like Aryan Pandey's first film, he has shown. Aryan Khan's first web series, he has done fabulously well. So I think this whole debate about nepotism is nonsense, and it's the handiwork of frustrated people who probably nurse a grudge that हमारी फैमिली का कोई नहीं आया या हमारे माँ बाप इस इंडस्ट्री में नहीं थे. But you go and fight with God. Don't fight with the people who are born in those families. Is it their fault that they were born in those families, or is it anybody's fault that you were not born in a film family? All you need to do is go and fight with God. Don't fight here with humans or with star kids, because it's not their choice. It is God's doing.
That's true. But what do you have to say about the trends and cultural shifts which we have also noticed in the cinema? The kind of content has upgraded, over the time. And, there is an acceptance to the modernity of content. So what do you have to say on that?
Well, I feel that the content has changed with the times. In the 70s and 80s, we had very different content. We had the typical masala film that used to work in a very big way. But now when you look at the kind of cinema that is being made today, it's very different from the cinema that we had in those days. And I think it's a great thing because they want to, I think the makers today have chosen very different kind of films to reach out to the audience, be it a Durand, be it a Saiyaara, or be it a Chhava. Of course, many films have been made in the past on similar lines, or not similar lines, but on gangsters and love stories and everything. But the treatment is so fresh, so 2025, that you need to adapt with the times. You need to change with the times. And that's a very important thing. And I think every producer, we need to reboot ourselves at times. We need to upgrade ourselves with in every year, and really move forward. Because if you don't do that, somewhere down the line you will feel stagnant, and the audience would reject. वो बोलेंगे कि आप कुछ नया क्यों नहीं देते? Because people want कुछ नयापन in commercial format, but has to be something which has to appeal in today's times.
Films reflect society. Society gets influenced by films, but films also reflect society. The more we change culturally, the more our films will have to reflect that, because otherwise the films will look very alien. So I think probably 10 or 15 years back, nobody would have dreamt. Why 10 or 15 years? 5 years back, nobody would have dreamt of making a Dhurandhar, because a lot of people have overlooked one important fact about Dhurandhar. Dhurandhar, they say it's yet again an India-Pakistan film. No, it is an India-Pakistan film, but with a big, big difference. Thus far, every single India-Pakistan film spoke about India. So it was from the Indian perspective and with flashes of what is going on in Pakistan. This is the first film which is about the Pakistani side with flashes of what is happening in India. So it is the villain's story told from their perspective in their country, meant for India. It is a villain story meant for the heroes. This is the first ever India Pakistan film which gives us a peep into the minds of the Pakistanis, how they plan terrorist attacks, how they carry out terrorist attacks, what do they think of India, what do they think of Indians. All that in great detail has been dealt with in Durandar. No other film, whether it was Gadar or Gadar 2.
And also, there was this debate which happened, and thanks to Deepika Padukone, which came into place also, which was about the motherhood and work debate. And she kind of exited spirit, and she ensured that basically we speak about the 8-hour shift and the conditions basically, and the availability of stars, in terms of work. So, what do you have to say? Do you also feel that as we also evolve, the work patterns also should be modified and changed, and how it should be functioning basically?
That understanding is between an actor and a producer, or a filmmaker, or a studio, that they need to decide as to what are the working hours and what not. But I think this issue has been blown out of proportion. And I genuinely feel in the past also people have been considerate and they have realized that, chalo theek hai, itne mein kaam kar lete. And in the earlier days, to वैसे भी लोग इतनी multiple shifts करते थे, Samina, कि the actors used to do 4 shifts in a day to devote 3 hours and 4 hours to a film.
Yes.
But उसका भी कोई complain नहीं करता था. So today, I mean, even now, I think producers would never complain. But that has to be done with mutual consent. If I don't know what the situation was or the circumstances were between the producers of Deepika Padukone's films and Deepika Padukone herself. But I genuinely feel that this could have been sorted out had they sat across the table and discussed it. I'm sure they must have discussed it also, but I don't know why it came out in the media, because the media loves to blow things up. So that's okay.
See, I wouldn't know who's right and who's wrong. The debate was not because of motherhood. The debate was because of she's alleged to have backtracked later. And insiders say that the reason was not just motherhood, the reason was a number of demands. As I said, I would not be the right person. I'm only saying what is in circulation. The inside story is that she demanded more things which were not acceptable to the producer, because they did not fit in with the budget of the film and with the budget allocated for the actress. So one will never know the truth. But as I said, without knowing the facts, what can one comment?
What do you have to say about this entire Loverboy comeback? And because for a very long time, we were seeing that Bollywood was lacking romance on screen. We were seeing movies which had romance, but it was not connecting the chords as such. As much as Saiyaara came with it, and 2025 was all about love and romance, and people spoke about it at high voltage, romance and drama for that matter. So what do you have to say about that? It took a lot of time also,
yes, but love stories, Samina, can never go out of fashion.
Yeah.
Till today you recall Mughal-e-Azam, Maine Pyar Kiya, Hum Aapke Kaun, those moments, Dil Wale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak. So love stories can never ever go out of fashion. And this year has seen the, how do I say, comeback? Is that the right term? Well, if it's called comeback, then yes, it's a comeback of romance and love stories. Films like Saiyaara, of course, Ek Diwani Ki Diwaniyat and Tere Ishq Mein have done rocky business. But look at on the other side. There is...
Tu meri, main tera, main teri, tu mera.
So this film has not worked despite being a love story. It has been rejected outright. It's a complete failure. So but again, as I said slightly earlier, that it all boils down to the content. चाहे वो कोई भी genre हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, समझना. अगर फिल्म अच्छी बनी होगी तो that will really work at the box office. And it could be any genre. A lot of people say कि rom-coms don't work, it's a dead genre. No, not at all. We've not been making those kind of films. Don't call it a dead genre. Don't call a masala film the dead genre, or don't say कि आजकल कौन देखता है मसाला फिल्म. क्या, a lot of people say gangster film में कौन देखता है. अरे धुरंधर सबसे बड़ा एग्जांपल है. So never say कि ये dead है, ये genre ऐसा है, ये वैसा है, because the audience is so unpredictable. Box office is so unpredictable. That's the beauty of this. कब कौन सा genre click हो जाएगा पता नहीं.
I think it was long overdue. We all were waiting for a new lover boy, a new lover girl, and it came in the form of Saiyaara. And for a love story to click in a big way, super hit music is a must. There's no shortcut. You have to have super hit music, and Mohit Suri, who's known for his musicals, I think he must have worked so hard and he delivered such outstanding music that everything fell into place. And as you rightly said, we had not had a love story of this kind, of this level for a long time. So he actually filled that void. The one who would have made a great film would get these kind of figures, and Mohit Suri was the lucky one and was the intelligent one.
So also during this year, we have also seen some of the political phases, taking around the country. And when I say so, because of which, when the Pahalgam attack also happened, Abir Gulal was banned in India, following which the Pakistani artists were banned, to kind of also do the work. That shift which has happened, which of course, there is a country side of it, the political side of it. What do you have to say about that? That as a critic, how do you balance the political reality of the country with the artistic loss of seeing talents like Fawad Khan, basically being edited out of screens for that matter?
It's very sad. If we can play cricket with Pakistan, I don't think there should be any kind of impediment to the release of films. Abir Gulal could not release in India. It's sad. Diljit Dosanjh's Punjabi film had a Pakistani actress and they did not allow that film to release in India. It's very sad because otherwise it has to be across the board. There should be no connection with Pakistan whatsoever. You can't be selective. What happens is the film people become very easy targets. One, because it's a glamorous industry. Secondly, we deal with celebrities. And thirdly, there are gossip magazines. There are magazines which report about the film people. There is no magazine for the public which reports about the construction industry or the iron and steel industry or the diamond industry. Those are very trade-oriented magazines. But about films and about film celebrities, the whole world talks about and writes about. And therefore, they come in the limelight. They come in people's eyes. And therefore, people, start making a hue and cry, कि ये कैसे हुआ, वो कैसे हुआ. It's a free trade. And I don't think if we can play cricket with the Pakistani team, there is nothing to stop a Pakistani actor or actress acting in a Hindi film.
Post Durandar whether you like it or not, you see a lot of comments on social media from the neighboring country. And I genuinely feel that, a lot of people said कि ये क्या बनाया, वो क्या बनाया. अरे, my answer to them is simple. आप ऐसी film बना के दिखाइए पहले. You've just released a film called Nilofer there. It's starring Fawad Khan and Maira Khan. And whatever the collections of the film in that particular country. But I have access to the international data on a daily basis. And I know the collections of that particular film, Nilofer, in the international markets. मतलब क्या बोलूं मैं आपको? आप पहले उस लेवल पे पहुंचिए जब आप बॉलीवुड के साथ अपने आप को कंपेयर कर सकते. Then one actor, this is hilarious. One actor of repute, I don't want to even name him. He said कि ये इन्होंने लियारी टाउन बताया है in Durandar, but Karachi is not just लियारी town. Karachi के बाकी हिस्से भी बनाते. So my answer to that gentleman, to that actor, Pakistani actor, is कि भाई Aditya was out to make a story on gangsters and Liari was a part of Durandar. Sorry, Aditya was not making a film, a film that depicts tourism of Karachi, right? So don't, अगर आपको बताना है तो आप अपनी फिल्मों में बताइए ना, और आप बताइए कि कैसा, and prove with your business. Look at the business of Dhurandhar here. And so I feel there's a lot of talent in India. Why do we need to actually go there? And these people, then when they go back, they badmouth India. Which is a very sad part. And this is something that I don't like. आप कमाते यहाँ पर हो, वहां जाकर फिर हमारी बुराई करने लग जाते हो. So actually ये जो नहीं लेने का जो फैसला है पाकिस्तानी एक्टर्स को, वो मेरी व्यक्तिगत राय में, my opinion is absolutely right, because they badmouth us all the while. And even now during Dhurandhar, they have been badmouthing us. I saw some clips on social media where they've been talking about us, and it's not, I was not happy at it, about the whole thing. I mean, why do we even need to encourage that talent? आप अपने टैलेंट को काम दीजिए ना, आप अपने टैलेंट अपने बलबूते पे अपनी फिल्में बनाइए. हमारी फिल्म के साथ तो आप कंपैरिजन नहीं कर सकते, ना in terms of the technicalities, ना in terms of budgets, ना in terms of box office. Look at the business of your films and look at the business of our films. I mean, there's no comparison also. It's like zameen aasman ka farak hai. So, well, look at your industry first and then talk about us.
What do you have to say about the OTT versus theatrical identity crisis? And when I say so, films like Homebound and Stolen won global acclaim, but they struggled for theatrical releases. And at the same time, there were films like, Houseful 5, which had a part 1, part 2, and also, basically they were there. So do you feel that multiplex movie, officially that entire culture around that has been officially dead, leaving, only for mass events and only for big screen is for like basically only for mass movies like that, and art is more on like, OTT for that matter?
I don't think Homebound got few screens. They opted for few screens. There's a difference between struggling for screens and opting for fewer screens. See, Karan Johar is a very smart player. He knows that a film like Homebound is artistic cinema, but commercially doesn't stand much of a chance. Even in those limited screens, the film could not collect well. So imagine how pathetic the situation would have been had he gone in for a very wide release. So he opted for a smaller release, for a limited release, not that he was forced to release it in limited screens. Who was forced to which film was forced to release in limited screens and limited shows is his Tu Meri Main Tera Tu Meri. That is because Dhurandhar is doing fabulously well. Avatar Fire and Ash is doing very well. So therefore it got limited screens and limited shows. But for a film like Homebound, I think it's not that they did not get shows, they opted for fewer shows. And similarly, I'm forgetting the name of the film. There was a filmmaker who created such a hangama that, and then there were people who came in support. Okay, my film has not, very recently, some 5 or 6 weeks back, my film did not get the shows that it deserved. But if your film is going to be good, it'll get more shows. I'll tell you how it works. In this industry, they fight, humko itne shows chahiye, humko itne shows chahiye. The multiplexes then have to strike a balance, but that is for Friday. On Saturday, the multiplexes, without asking the producers, without asking the distributors, they take their decision. They increase the shows of the films which are doing well. They decrease the shows of the films which are doing badly. So that filmmaker, I'm actually forgetting the name of the film, Agra. Okay. The maker of Agra was screaming, shouting his lungs out that I did not get enough shows. But if your film had merits, they would have increased the shows, because the cinemas, the multiplexes are also here to do business. So what are you screaming? What are you shouting about? Your film did not have the merits to run. It's not as if because it ran in 20 shows, it did not do well. And if it had run in 200 shows, it would have done well. No, it doesn't work that way. If a film has merits, even those 20 shows, it will show its worth, and the multiplexes will run after you and increase your shows. They don't even need to run after you. Very silently, they will reduce the shows of the film which is subservient to you or which is lesser than you business-wise, and they will increase your shows. The fact that they did not increase your shows means that your film did not have merits. Plus, those 20 or 80 or 100 shows, you look at the collections, it was 2%, 3%, 5%. How can you be screaming and blaming the multiplexes? So, as I said, over here, it's like a tamasha. One person raises an issue and 20 join him without understanding that he was talking nonsense, and therefore you also are appearing to be foolish and talking equal nonsense because those films did not work. Yeah. So I think it has, like water finds its own level. These films also have a way of finding their own level. If they have worth, if they have merits, the multiplexes increase their shows, because finally the multiplexes are here to make money from X film or Y film. It's not that they are married to one particular film. They want to make the maximum money, maximum revenue.
Decides the kind of release strategy it has to opt for. So a Homebound is not going to release in 2,000 screens or 3,000 screens. It's going to be a very select. It's art house cinema. It's going to have a very tiny or a very select release. And Karan Johar being the producer and the distributor of the film, they had a very tight release for the film, which is completely justified. And I think, but the audience, it's up to the audience whether they want to watch it or not. I think it's a brilliant film. It's a beautiful film. I was very emotional when I saw the film. It brought back a lot of memories of the COVID times when I saw that film. But what really touched my heart was the struggle of those two boys and the journey to their hometown and the way it has been depicted. Neeraj Gaiwan is a fantastic storyteller, and both the boys have done so well in the film. So I feel that it's a film that needs to be watched, and I'm sure one day or the other it will get its due. It's gone for the Oscars right now. It has been chosen in that list. Let's see if it reaches the top 5, and then fingers crossed.
The aura phenomenon which we talk about, and when I say so, from Akshaye Khanna's Pala walk to Rasha Thadani's viral Uyamma, dance in 2025, the year of social media edit was something very different. And when I say so, the cinema clips have been turned out to be a 15-second reel. Is that hurting the pace of 2-hour movie, because the focus is more on the Instagram reels and all that also? What do you have to say on that?
No, I feel it only helps the film. If the film is really great in content. You mentioned Rasha Thadani's song, which was a great song, but the film was not, Azad, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And, it didn't work at the box office. It was a weak film from a very fine storyteller. Abhishek Kapoor is a very good storyteller. And but that song is still very popular. I'm not denying that. And now, of course, this song featuring Akshaye Khanna, the rage, and rightly so, because it's a beautiful song. It looks so good on the screen, and also at the same time, Dhurandhar is a great film, so it has enhanced the appeal for Dhurandhar. People have loved the film, and they have loved this song as well. So it acts as a Sone Pe Suhaga. I have always said that good music is very important. In the earlier days, the music played an integral part. So now, if you look at it, there has been Saiyaara, which of course was a wonderful film, but had superb music. And look at Durand, a film the album is so good. It's incredible. So I'm sure it's going to be, the reels actually help in creating awareness. But eventually, as I said, and I've always said, the content does the talk.
I look at it differently. According to me, any kind of publicity is publicity. So these reels actually prompt a number of people. There are so many people who are consuming reels today. In fact, more than OTT, more than television, I would say the biggest opposition to cinema are the reels. People consume reels for 2 hours and 2.5 hours, so their thirst for entertainment gets quenched. They don't need to go to the cinemas. But my take is different. I would say these kind of reels of Akshaye Khanna dancing or of Bobby Deol in Animal, they are acting as publicity material for the film. There are lakhs of people who see those reels and they say, "Yaar, maza aaya, let's go and watch the film." In normal circumstances, they would have probably not seen the film. It is because of the reels that they are seeing the film. And it doesn't work that way. That having seen the reel, they may not go to the cinema. They feel inclined to go to the cinema. So the reel becomes a source of promotion, a source of publicity, and free publicity at that. Because the filmmaker is not spending money. It is the audience which is making those reels and helping boost the collections of the film.
Yeah. The best of curiosities also, sir, is where I want to know about you, that if you had to pick one performance from 2025 that was national award worthy, but didn't make enough noise at the box office, like a Yami Gautam in Haq or a Vishal Jetwa in Homebound, which one would it be and why?
That would be, Samina, that would be very difficult. Right from Vicky Kaushal in Chava to Yami Gautam in Haq. I think it's a brilliant film. It didn't get its due. Or Vishal Jetwa and Ishan Khattar, in Homebound. And now, of course, there is this film, Durandar. I mean, every performance, Ranbir Singh to Akshaye Khanna, everyone has done very well, and I genuinely hope that one of these people gets the due, or maybe all in some way or the other, because these are performances that really stood out in 2025, and while moving on to 2026, we'll be having such wonderful memories of these films and of all these actors. And I'm sure that 2026 will also spring a lot of surprises and setbacks and shocks. But having said that, I feel these performances, or maybe I've missed out on a few ones, but I think these performances have really, really touched the core of your heart.
Yeah. And lastly, sir, which 2025 turned out to be a disaster, but at the same time, you think could turn out to be a cult classic in the coming 5 years?
Well, it's a bit too difficult to say that. I don't really recall any film, but I feel there are certain films that could have fared better in times to come. One was Huck. I really love that film. I think it's a beautiful film. It didn't work at the box office at all, but I feel it should have. There were other films also, but maybe I'm not getting it right now as we speak. But I feel that, generally what happens is a lot of people watch it on digital medium and say, wow, maza aaya, ki theater mein kyun nahi chali? But I wish people would have gone to the theater and watched it and then made it a success instead of watching it on the digital platform and making it a success. Or praising it. But I hope in times to come, it will change.
No film. I don't think the films which flopped deserve to flop, and I don't think any of those films will become cult classics. And yes, Homebound did not do well, but it will go on for a number of years. It will be considered as a very beautifully made film. So, of course, it's not been condemned. It has not done well at the box office, but it was an extraordinary film. And Vishal Jethwa and Ishan Khattar, their performances in that film, I think, rated amongst the best performances of this year. They were both brilliant.
And lastly, sir, for 2026, what are what are you rooting for? What do you think cinema is going to be like, and how the world of entertainment is going to also unfold?
I'm a born optimist, and I genuinely feel that even if you've had a bad year, or even if the year has ended on a Durandar, of course, is doing very well, but new film of Kartik Aaryan is not doing well. But I have always said this, and I'll repeat here: कि रात कितनी ही काली क्यों ना हो, सवेरा तो होना ही है. So I am very hopeful of 2026 as we begin the journey. We are starting it with Ikkis on the 1st of Jan, and it has, if I can say so, it has Dharamji in a very beautiful performance. And there's Jaideep Alawat. I think the sequences together, if I'm allowed to say that, is brilliant. And I loved Agastya Nanda in the film. He's done a fantastic job. It's a beautiful film. Please watch that. And then moving forward, there are many films that are going to come in. And I hope, Ummeed pe Duniya Kayam hai. I hope that 2026 also brings in a lot of success and happiness to the film industry.
Well, this year didn't turn out to be as great for Salman in terms of a movie like Sikandar, which didn't work well at the box office. What do you have to say about a film like Battle of Galwan? He's just released a teaser today on his birthday, and people are gearing up for that as well. So what do you do you feel that it's going to be?
उनका स्टार पावर के बारे में क्या कहें? शाहरुख खान, सलमान खान, ये दो एक्टर ऐसे हैं, इनके स्टार पावर पर तो खैर सवाल कोई उंगली उठा ही नहीं सकता. They are matchless, if you ask me. And every film of theirs will always be discussed, and I'm sure, अभी चूंकि आपने सलमान का जिक्र किया है, so I would like to add here that once Salman's film releases, I'm sure, I hope it does very well. I genuinely hope, because उनकी जो fan following है is enormous, and he's one actor who I always say is the darling of the masses, and people love him. I hope it translates into box office numbers.
That's interesting, sir. And Looking forward to this also. And as you said about Shah Rukh is also coming with King, and
Yes.
he's working with his daughter for the very first time, and it's been like he's taken his own time when it comes to his movies also, and it's taken his own due also. The way he has also worked on his cinema, from being a romantic hero to getting into the world of action. What do you have to say how the 2026 is going to unfold for him as well?
Fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the teaser or the glimpse that you say of King. I think Shah Rukh Khan is Shah Rukh Khan. But yeah, I've always said that he's the number 1 to number 5 in India and number 1 to number 10 in overseas in the international markets. उनका तो कोई मुकाबला ही नहीं है. And उनके बारे में जितना कहूँ कम होगा. तो जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी कहा, मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है, आर्यन भी फिल्मों में आया एज एन एक्टर, हम उन्हें बड़े पर्दे पर देखें. But having said that, I'm really looking forward to King. I think it's going to be a blockbuster of epic proportions.
Well, lovely chatting with you, sir. And thank you so much for such an interesting interaction. And always it's a pleasure talking to you, and knowing the excerpts of the Indian cinema for that matter. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Samina.
Thank you, sir. Bye. What are your predictions for 2026 in terms of cinema and art around us? And if you had to choose one of your favorite movies for 2025, which one would it be and why?
I will never select my favorite movie because I get excited about films at the time of release. If that film has generated heat, it becomes my favorite movie. And secondly, I'm an eternal optimist as far as films are concerned. I think 2026 is going to be better than 2025 and probably the best ever year for Bollywood. That is my sincere prayer. That is my sincere wish. That is my sincere hope. Because as I said, when it comes to films, I am the eternal optimist. Let us see collections, box office collections of the kind we have never seen. I'll tell you here, when the industry was passing through a very bad phase during the lockdown, of course, it almost seemed that, cinema is dead. People said people will not come to the cinemas again. Only spectacular films, big budget films, which offer youth sets and, which are visually appealing, only they will run. Otherwise, cinemas will not work. During that time, I used to write editorials, and in several editorials I wrote, let us not be so despondent, let us not be so crestfallen. You never know, probably we will see post-COVID collections of the kind we have never seen in the pre-COVID days, and I'm so happy. Jawan, Pathan, Stree 2, Animal, Gadar 2, Pushpa 2, and now Dhurandhar. 7 blockbusters.
Yeah.
Having collections which were never seen in the pre-COVID days. So I am saying, let us also feel and hope that 2026 brings collections of the kind we have never seen to date. Let us see collections of 1,000 and 1,200 and 1,500 and 2,000 crore. You never know. This is a growing industry, and something just might happen where people flock to the cinemas like never before.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. And on that note, sir, thank you so much for such a lovely interaction and giving such wonderful insights around box office, about the cinema overall, and looking forward to do more of interactions with you in the coming year, and looking forward to always seeing your work, the way you review, the way you speak about cinema. We also, like, people who may not be attached to cinema would get attached to it. So thank you so much for always giving us the best insights every time. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Samina, I'm sorry for this back and forth.
No, that's okay, sir. Not at all, please, sir. That's okay completely. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.